Thank you, and welcome to Pusnes, everybody. I think I have to say that. This is our place. And I want to tell our story. That means I want to honor my fantastic colleagues for 150 years. There is actually a lot of the more recent ones here today. I have met a lot of people, and that's nice to see that you guys come here. We at Pusnes, we have always honored our guests. We always flagged with their nation's flag. Pusnes was an international company. We had 1, 2, 4 flags every day, almost every day. The guests were clients, agents, contractors, yards, ship owners, oil companies, and it was on all levels, directors, engineers, purchasers, fabrication. So Pusnes was an international company. I think here I should mention, we were in Japan with our own company in 1970. We were number 2 of the Norwegian companies in Japan with over 100 employees. So we were really operating on the world scale. So this story can, at times, go beyond imagination. So I give you a few pictures here to rest your eyes on. I came here 40 years ago, and I was drawn into this fantastic, I call it phenomenon, Pusnes. It was a super professional company. They were able to take on the most formidable task. For us, it was about handling the roaring forces of the stormy ocean. It's a bit dramatic, but we actually make equipment that handle these things or make you able to handle ships in these things. This one is kept in place with Pusnes equipment. So you can see things had to be strong, things had to be properly made. This is where Statoil came when they wanted to do loading of crude oil offshore. This is actually a shuttle tanker, and it can look like that when they load oil. We used to be the world's leading brand for our products for more than 100 years. It was a bit like Coca-Cola. It's true. You can ask any sailor, even today, if he has ever driven a Pusnes winch, and he has. Why did Arendal become such a hub for building this heavy equipment? So we have to look at the history. It's about traditions. It's about shipbuilding, ship owners, trading, and sailors. Arendal was a major shipping town at this period. It was probably the biggest in Scandinavia. We had a fleet, the ship owners had a fleet of 400 large ships plus. Average size is 400 tons. That is quite a lot, actually, for these days. It's the double of what a normal town would have. These ships gave jobs to 5,000 sailors. This in a town with 4,000 inhabitants. So it was very much influenced by sailing. And as you see, the harbor here, it's full of ships. That was very common. So even when I was young, which is not that long ago, we used to say you had the dad, he was out sailing, and they were sailing for a year. And then, of course, in Arendal, you would say, hjemme hos mamma di. Or in English, it would be at home in mom's house. So there were a lot of daddies out sailing. Arendal had funding, money, oak, pine wood, the knowledge how to build large ships. You can see the map here. It's, how many is it? 51 shipyards, many of them capable of building large sailing ships. Pusnes was one of them. We have records, properly written records from mid-1700, but they did it before. The thing is, you used specialized shipbuilders. They knew how to design a ship and to make it. And then you had young men who knew how to use an axe. They came from the area around and kind of immigrated down here and settled. And that's how the town grew. Here you can actually see Pusnes. You can see the main building, the White House there. Both Pusnes and Gard are companies Guard, the insurance company, we had our heritage from these days. And it is in these circumstances that Pusnes, Støberi, and mechanical workshop is established. It's a foundry, mechanical workshop, and shipbuilding and ship repair company. And this is typically 100 years ago. They have a big steel sail ship on the ramp for repairs. So I jumped to the ships. We built 101 ships. Some said that, now 101 is out. That's a saying. Of course, it was the 101 ships. That was the last 101. But some legends, that is not many people know. G.O. SARS, the first marine biology fishery research vessel. I think it's number 4 that is sailing around now, a super modern thing. But this is number 1, built at Pusnes. Bastø 1, it served from mid-50s to up in the late 70s, this one. And it's the traditional ferry link if you go from south coast to Sweden. Most Norwegians here have probably been on this one or a newer version, but the Bastø 1 was built here. Then we have Skagen. There was a lot of ferries before. You could go to England, Denmark, Netherlands, Newcastle, and London, wherever. And Skagen was built here at Pusnes, one of the later one, kind of our ferry to Denmark. And then we have actually 2, I call them Danish Arctic and Antarctic cargo and expedition vessels. This one is hired by the British Antarctic Company for years, sailing down in Antarctica with scientists. So the ships built here were robust. They could withstand the ice. They had icebreaker bows. So that's why a lot of them got tasks like this. So this is just for you to understand. We built some ships and some interesting ships. When I say the winches, I mean the lot. It's much more. You can imagine, over a period of 150 years, you are going to develop a lot of systems that are based on winches often. And we did it from sketch, from a blank paper. It was drawings. It was even a foundry here for casting iron, cutting plates, welding, machining, everything, and assembly, and then putting it on board on the vessel and teaching the crew how to use it. This was all us. You entered a contract and you got a working machine like that one on your deck. So that was first were manually driven. This is a good one. This is a wind pump. They put them on ships, and it's very, relevant today with these turbines. So we were quite early with that. Here you can see this is Fram up in the ice. And she has a turbine. I don't think it's a pump, so we can assume it's actually an electric generator. Maybe it was made here. I wouldn't bet on that. But we have steam winches. Here's a German catalog. This was what we did a lot of. Deck machinery for big ships. In the good periods, we had 250 ship sets, and it's not so long ago. And that means that we made 2,500 of that one, either here or in Korea or wherever we had them made. But we sold, close to 3,000 winches a year. So that was one of the big legs we stood on, ship deck machinery. The other one is offshore. This is a drilling rig. Very powerful machines, 1,000 horsepower for pulling, 5,000 for paying out. All these floating platforms, we had all except one in the Norwegian sector, floating production units. These are made for 25 to 45 years lifetime without touching them. They stay there in the ocean, in the splash zone. So it's an extreme quality. Bow loading. This is where the current world standard for bow loading was developed. Statoil came to us and asked us, we used to say that our biggest contribution to the environment has always been that these systems, they are safe. I have argued with clients who wanted to make it cheaper, or they said it can't be necessary. But if you foul up there, you get a lot of crude oil in the ocean. Now we made it look too easy. So that's why we got some competitors and some clients saying it can't be that serious. So it's actually the world is a bit more scary now in that aspect, because people see it can be done and they do it, but they don't have the background. So our last feather in the hat for environment. This is... Thank you. We got the Equinor's Hive in Scotland. That's 5 turbines hanging out there on Pusnes equipment and producing a lot of electricity, actually. This is not many people know, but the Fram and eventually the Maud, they had Pusnes winches, of course. And here I have the text. If there was a bigger than ever vessel, a not yet invented system, a bigger challenge, they actually came to Pusnes very, very often. So yeah, and here you have Fram, again, Pusnes winches. This is a big, well, it's a bulk carrier for people who know that's not oil, that they can take iron cargo and you can corn, wheat. These are big ships. Drilling rigs, 40 at least. Maybe some here can correct me. But there's a lot of drilling rigs out there with our equipment. Offshore loading, this is what I spoke about. Statoil came to us, said, can you do it? And we did it. We developed that. And there's close to 200 ships with that system. And it's the ruling world standard for transferring. It can be oil, it can be liquid gas, it's many things, but the standard was developed here. The world's biggest crane vessels at the time, Saipem 7000 or Mikoperi at that time, Pusnes winches, super advanced, and that is actually, that's a cool picture because it's Hive in Scotland once more. So here you are, Troll B. This is the first. This is 1995, that picture. We built 2 years earlier. But this is the first modern production unit that was built to last for this one, 25, and then they extended the lifetime 10 more years. Pioneering spirit. This is for removing platforms. You can see it can bring home a whole oil platform. We had a lot of the winches. And here, this is a cool one. It's called Yara Birkeland. It's a automatic, what is it? Unmanned battery electric autonomous ship. So it's supposed to sail without anyone on board. And it's sailing, it is currently sailing, but they have put a little bridge on it because they need to teach it how to behave. But it's basically done. Yes, how to behave and how to act. So we did what we call a mechanical deckhand, matros, who can put the ropes on the quayside, Pusnes style. It's about people, and it's about us, and it's about the people who worked here. It's about competence, and it's about people. So that's my last round. Of course, you need a brilliant idea for something you can sell, but then you need people. You need investors with money. You need clever engineers. You need a supporting organization. There's a lot of it. A solid workshop like this one. An educated and trained craftsmen. And this is, of course, early Pusnes workshop with machinery. You can see in the picture. The big thing is that competence in a specific field, it's built up through learning. Learn from the colleagues who have done it for a while. And whether it's a workshop, or it's engineering. You need to learn in an environment where people know how to do things. So young people were met with open and positive mindset. I think that is very important. That was the atmosphere here. People were positive to share, positive to give knowledge on, not keeping it to your chest to protect your own position. This sharing creates a very competent team. So it becomes a nice place to work in that respect also. And it requires a management that have understood and know how to honor these principles. So this gallery, this is 69 craftsmen. This is 1950. In those days, people stayed. It's between 30 and 56 years in Pusnes. And many of them more than 40 years. So that is, for me, that is competence in real life. This is from a Jubilee, some kind of magazine in 1950. This one is cool. This is the workshop you're sitting in now. It was built by Mr. Ludvig Saxe. He built with the ambition of building the world's largest, biggest winch factory. And I know Annette, his granddaughter, is sitting here. There she is. So that was a fantastic achievement. You can see there, here is the machines new, all the cranes are new. You can see them painted the same blue. And then we built, a few years later, we built a test bed. It's out in one of the halls. A copy of that one is a feature the main feature in the Motion Innovation Lab in the University in Grimstad. That's a copy of the Pusnes lab. And I'm going to use it in 14 days, actually. It's very handy for me if I know how it works. So, yes. So it's nice for me that there is a lab there. Engineering design office, same system for competence transfer. Unbroken chain of training new engineers for 150 years. So we have had a design office for 150 years with engineers training engineers. So in 1914, it was drawing boards, very simple. This is 83 drawing machines, the ones that go all up in the air. 86, first CAD system. And in 2014 and on, digital twin, digital prototyping, virtual reality, physics-based 3D simulation engines. We used a lot, and a lot more that I could say something about. But so we always developed, we always had the newest tool, lots of modern tools all the time. So that's the trick. You learn people how to work, what to work with, and then you give them tools. The team spirit. Well, you know, the opposite of sharing is ends up in a stuck-up system. So we focused on the other one. We built a sharing community. Building the team was an important part of the daily life. And team building, as in hosting a Pusnes party for everyone, that was done 2 times a year. It was summer party, and you can see the boats going out. And it was Christmas party. So my last wish to you guys, so let us make this one of the greatest Pusnes parties.